Hi everyone. I'm here today to talk about how to integrate a Flutter application into the Odoo interface without changing too much to Odoo. But first, let me introduce our team. We are a team of software engineers, and we focus mainly on custom development. Our main area of expertise are mobile application development, mainly on Flutter. We develop platform and web interfaces, and we also do management software and other custom development. The management software we integrate to clients is Odoo. And even if we do custom development, we try to focus as much as possible on Odoo if we have something pretty of a standard business process, and that's most of the cases are like that. So here we'll see how we can make a Flutter application and integrate it seamlessly with Odoo. And in the particular case of field staff, that are persons that are on the road and they usually need a mobile application. I'm the owner of the company, and I'll explain to you the case study and the business processes, and then Thibaut, our technical expert, will delve into the techniques with you and show to you how we did it in practice with Odoo. So, first of all, I would like to state that Odoo is a great tool. Like I said, we are a custom development company, but even so, we use a lot of Odoo, because if your company has standard process, you can almost make it work out of the box. The configuration is pretty simple. The implementation does not cost too much, so you have a very good ratio between work spent and everything you get for the work spent. It's fairly intuitive to use, and you can use it with a lot of people. So for a company, you want to use a software like Odoo for your backend instead of a custom development. But sometimes Odoo match 80% of your company, and you have 20% that are not matched in Odoo. And then the question is, what are we going to do? Are we going to change Odoo? Are we going to drop those 20% because they are not important? Or are these 20% really important, and do we need to find a solution outside of Odoo to implement them? What we really struggled for with Odoo in the case of field applications are offline use, because Odoo is in a web browser, so storing data is not that easy. Taking photos and pictures. Handling geolocalization, because you always have to ask for permission, and if the user says no one time, you cannot ask it again. So those were the main problems. And these problems do not appear so much in mobile applications, because the media of mobile is made for these things. Everyone has a mobile, so that's also a good point, because you can easily ship your mobile application to the person and the employees of your clients. You can store data offline on the phone. That's it's possible. It's made to work like that. So you can store data, and when you get Wi-Fi or 3G or 4G, upload this data. You can use the custom library of your phone to make pictures and videos. So you have out-of-the-box functionalities like zooming, cropping, adding filters, because it's standard in an iPhone. And you can focus as much as possible on simple functionalities. Odoo is simple to use, but it covers a lot of things, so it can be pretty complex. And for field workers, you just want to focus on what they are doing and just implement these functionalities and no other, like invoicing and so on. And on mobile, it's a pretty good media to focus on only a small portion of the business. So what we are going to see in the presentation is how to take the ideal world of the mobile and make it work with Odoo without denaturing Odoo and making it into something that you cannot maintain. The case study we are going to explain is for experts in insurance, so that our experts are mainly on the road. Last year in Liège, we are a company from Liège, we had a big flood, and the expert had to do a lot of damage sites to claim damage for insurances. And what we made an app where an expert had all the location he needed to visit, and where he could easily take photos and upload them when he had Wi-Fi, because with flood like that, you have no Wi-Fi, no 3G, no 4G, every utility pole is swept away, so you cannot access internet. And the app was made so that they could take picture, make a annotation on the pictures, and send them to the back office. So the job of an expert is pretty simple, and that's why I say mobile is, in fact, it's digitally pretty simple, and that's why I say that mobile is a good media, because what they are doing is visit a damage site, taking pictures, videos, taking notes, annotate them, and then send them to the back office. And the back office, in our case, is Odoo, and you have the office who handle every photograph, who send the mails, who call the companies, and who do all the back office work on Odoo, and who can use the power of Odoo for everything they are doing. And now I'll first of all, let me explain other uses of file staff for which we worked outside of experts on the road. You have also a maintenance team, the teams that check on electricity poles, the quality, who retrieve indexes, who retrieve technical documents for example, trains. That's also easy to use on an app. And you have also delivery companies that are all field staff users where an application can be beneficial for specific processes of the business. So now I let Thibaut explain to you how we made it work technically.
Thank you, Julien. Now let's get into the actual solution that we ended up building for this company. This is a simple app on which okay. Test? Okay. The experts can add the claim files using either the file ID or scanning the barcode with their phone. The files are then fetched from Odoo and displayed on the app. As you can see on this example, 3 files have been added. Then, on the damage site, they can easily add photos either by taking them with their phones or importing them from the device. Then they can define the quality of the picture to make them smaller and consume less data when sending them and send them faster. They can also add some tags like damage, cause, roof, to help identify the pictures better in Odoo and process everything more easily, because there are often dozens of pictures per file. Once all the photos are taken, they can click on the send button and all the photos will be uploaded to the right project in Odoo. If they're not connected to the internet, they can just turn off the app and do that later. Everything is saved on the device. And if the photos are being sent and the connection is lost, then the transfer will resume automatically once again when the connection is back on. Everything is saved and there's no loss of data. So as you can see, the app only does some simple tasks that can be done in Odoo to make it quick and easy to use. Then after all that, the people in the office can process everything in Odoo using all of its power and capabilities. The photos are all in the correct places, as if they had been added manually, with some tags to help them identify them and process everything. These people do not need the app. They don't even need to know about the app. For them, everything is just as it's always been, and they don't need to learn anything new, except that now they don't have to import hundreds of photos and tag them every day that they got from email from the field experts. Now let's get into the technical details for a bit. Initially, we thought about implementing this as we always do with our non-Odoo mobile projects. Usually we have the mobile app on one side, the backend server on the other, and a REST API linking the two. The data is sent, formatted in JSON, to the backend server, which then processes it and saves it. This is fine when implementing something of our own, because we can design everything the way we need it, and the end product is made with all of that in mind. However, with Odoo, this would have meant adding code to the backend to create a REST API that would fetch the data, transform it to something that it can use, such as an attachment in this case. And this has several issues. The first is that once you start doing that, you can quickly go for something beautiful and efficient to something ugly, less easy to use, and barely standing, and difficult to maintain. At first, you think that adding a little something on top of it is fine, it won't cause any problem, but then you keep doing that, and you end up with something barely standing that threatens to collapse with any change. And it becomes, it works, I don't know how, please don't touch it. And you're completely blocked from doing anything new. Also, in the case of Odoo, it means being able to add code to the backend, which is not possible on every version, and it makes it harder to update in the future. So what can we do? Well, luckily, Odoo has an API out of the box based on XMLRPC. This is not REST-JSON that we usually use, but Flutter, which is the framework we use to make apps, has a package to easily handle XMLRPC. This makes it possible to work without any changes to the Odoo code. This means that there are no extra coding costs. It's easier to update Odoo in the future, and it works on all versions of Odoo. In practice, what does it look like? We still have our app as before, but now the backend isn't changed. It's as pure as a newborn baby. All the processing to get the data format that Odoo can work with, it's done in the app, then sent to Odoo using the API, and that's it. In our case, it means that we still have all the photos in the app and all the metadata, like the tags and the location. Then once we send everything to Odoo, the app transforms it to objects that it can understand, such as attachments and tags, and then it sends that nice little package to Odoo, and it can just save it without doing anything more. So in summary, the app does everything that Odoo can't easily do out of the box, and only that, which is taking the photos and videos, reducing their size, retrieving the location, and handling offline use. Then it sends everything to Odoo, which takes care of the rest. To conclude, what we did here is use Odoo Enterprise Standard for this company, as this was the best solution to handle all their needs without having to develop a custom solution from scratch. It probably would have been as powerful, pretty, and easy to use as Odoo, and it would have taken a lot of time and money. Then for the few things that Odoo couldn't handle, we made an app. So now what I want to ask you is, could you benefit from an app for your specific processes? I'm sure that Odoo already solves many of your problems, and it helps you a lot every day in your tasks, but I'm also sure there are some small things that it can't handle, and that can be frustrating. Maybe an app could be the perfect solution for that. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or if you want a Flutter app, here's all our contact info, and otherwise you can always ask all the questions right now.
Is there someone in the room that has any questions? Is there...
Question?
Yeah, yes, a question. Come here and tell us, and then we'll. So, what's your question?
How does Odoo process this? How does Odoo receive this information?
Okay, so.
Is it a specific AI or API or something?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll repeat the question. So the question was, how do Odoo process the information coming from the app? Is this some specific API or something like that? So usually when we do mobile application communication with a backend, we have a REST API, and unfortunately Odoo has not yet a REST API, but as Thibaut said, they have a XMLRPC API, which is also an API, but who is not based on JSON, but on XML. And what we do is in the app is we make posts, HTTP posts of XML via the package XMLRPC on Flutter to Odoo to communicate with Odoo.
We send the data just as it needs to be, as you would do in Odoo. You create the object in the app, and then you send the Odoo object as it is to Odoo, and you don't need to do anything else on the Odoo side.
Is there somebody else that has a question?
Hello, how do you deal with authentication? Do you use like always like a service account, or is there like as well a way that you use like the impersonation, that you have like an authentication itself in Flutter, that you then would like impersonate this user inside Odoo for do some kind of action? Or how did you deal with that stuff?
The users need to log in with their Odoo account on the app, and then the authentication is done with their API, and the credentials are saved, are sent to Odoo, then we receive a token, and we can do simple API calls with that. So each user needs to authenticate with their account on the app.
And that is if you want to know which user created which object, but you can also have one app that communicates with a standard account, not the admin account because that's a bad idea, but with a standard account who will do everything like the Odoo bot, but then you will not have the information of who posted which photo.
Sorry, does it work as well with single sign-on, or is it only using like the Odoo accounts in Odoo itself? Or if we would have a possibility in Odoo that we are using single sign-on, let's say with Google or even with Azure Active Directory, could there be the possibility that we use these tokens inside of Flutter as well?
If it's the account, if the account in Odoo is linked with the Google or other account, it could be possible. In this case, we only use the basic Odoo account, but I guess it could be possible to integrate it with other accounts.
Yeah, in principle, it should be possible. It's more out of the box to use an Odoo account than to use, for example, the Google entity, the Google account. But you could use it too. It's more of a bit more difficult path, but it's not impossible.
Is there somebody else that has a question? Then I don't think there are any more questions. Then thank you very much for this very good presentation.
We'll be here today, so if you have questions, feel free to ask to Thibaut or to me, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thibaut has more answers on the technical part, and I have more answers on the business part. Thank you.